Meanwhile, back here at home, President Trump tomorrow is set to host the leaders of 12 nations in Florida to talk narco-terrorism and immigration. The administration dubbing it the Shield of America Summit. Now, that may sound familiar because yesterday, Trump announced outgoing DHS Secretary Kristi Noem will be a special envoy of the group after replacing her at Homeland Security with Senator Markwayne Mullin. And it was reportedly the DHS TV ad that was the key factor that led to her ousting. That staggering price tag was brought up in a combative Senate hearing this week.
And you're saying that you're testifying that President Trump approved this ahead of time. Is that my understanding?
We had conversations about making sure that we were telling people.
No, ma'am. I'm asking you, sorry to interrupt, but the president approved ahead of time you spending $220 million running TV ads across the country in which you are featured prominently.
Yes, sir. We went through the legal processes, did it correctly.
Did the president know you were going to do this?
Yes.
He did?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
The man behind that question joins me now. It's Louisiana Republican Senator John Kennedy. Senator, it's always great to see you. Thanks for being with us here today from Louisiana.
Thank you.
Reporting is that you talked to the White House before that questioning. I'm curious how that all came together to talk to the secretary about the price tag of that ad.
Well, there's nothing extraordinary about what I did. There's nothing mysterious about what I did. I did my job as a senator. I'm very fond of the secretary. I congratulated her at the hearing, and I was sincere in my congratulations about executing the president's policy and securing the southern border. I have been concerned, though, as have other senators who have chosen not to speak out. I've been concerned about the fact that we have managerial problems at the department for a while that are distracting from the president's and our agenda. And I knew before the hearing I had a list of 8 issues I wanted to bring up with the secretary. I only got to 2. I don't want to overstate this business about calling the White House. I called the White House 2 days before, had a very brief conversation, and just said, look, folks, I just want you to know I'm going to ask some tough questions. I didn't tell them the questions. We didn't talk at length about it. They said, okay, do your job, no big deal. I did my job as a senator. And one of the things I asked the secretary about was the fact that she spent $250 million putting ads out across America, $250 million, in which she was prominently displayed. They looked a great deal like political ads. And I found that breathtaking. And when I see what I perceive to be spending porn, I don't care who does it. I'm going to call it out. I'm pretty cheap when it comes to taxpayer money. I squeak when I walk. And that's what happened. It also came out, though the secretary denied it, that these were no-bid contracts, and then apparently some of them did not go to people whose names she got off ZipRecruiter. They went to political friends. And we talked about that. And I was stunned when she answered categorically that the president approved every single bit of it. Later that day, I got a call from President Trump. He was mad as a mama wasp. He said, Kennedy, I hope you understand that I had nothing to do with this. And I said, well, I do believe you, Mr. President. He was not happy. It was clear to me after that conversation that the secretary's time at the department was limited. That to be blunt, she was dead as fried chicken. And we talked about a few names that he might consider. And then what happened. It's not personal. But President Trump was very irritated that the secretary had seemed to blame this on him.
Senator, interesting you note that you had concerns about managerial issues at DHS, and there were concerns you said were shared by several other senators who did not choose to speak out, and you did. Why didn't we hear from other senators?
Well, I can't speak for them. I play outside the pocket. I will never completely fit in, which I consider to be one of my best qualities. I'm very frank. Sometimes some people might think to a fault. I have the right to remain silent, not the ability. That's my job as a senator. And I'm not the only one that has these concerns. And the White House has had some concerns for a while. Well, it's not personal. I'm very fond of Christie. But the problems, and many more are going to be discussed, at the department were distracting from our agenda and the president's agenda. Immigration used to be our strongest issue. It's clearly not right now.
And there's plenty of objective metrics that it should be a strong issue for this administration when you consider self-deportation, the border crisis. It's been an absolute victory on so many fronts. So I understand the distraction from the public
and
it
was the money. It was the money. $250 million on television ads that really looked like political ads.
Let me ask you, Senator, really quickly about your friends across the aisle, both in the House and the Senate. And they are all suggesting that, this is not enough. The firing of Kristi Noem is not enough. It will not lead to the funding of DHS. They want a change in policy. And I know that I'm packaging two issues into one when I ask you this, but it's pretty shocking as well to see Democrats yesterday in the House, 53 of them, oppose a reaffirmation that Iran is the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism.
Well, many of my Democratic friends are weak. We're in a bar fight. They want to quote Socrates. They in their heart, I think, know that President Trump is doing the right thing with respect to Iran. He had no choice. He didn't start a war. He's trying to end a war there. We've been at war with Iran for a while. Most of my Democratic friends are controlled by the Karen wing of their party. And the Karen wing of their party is the wing that gave us defund the police. We know how that vampire movie turned out. Now their mantra is defund ICE. And many, not all, but many of my Democratic friends are scared of the Karen wing. And that's what's driving this. That's why we can't put together a budget for Homeland Security. Our budget for Homeland Security has already been approved by the Democrats. All the Democrats signed off on it. And then all of a sudden they unsigned off on it. They said, we want to make ICE an issue. And what they ultimately want to do is defund ICE, because the Karen wing of the party wants to defund ICE. And that's not going to happen during your or my natural lifetime. Legal immigration is legal. The American people support it. But illegal immigration is illegal. These immigration statutes are not some second-tier laws where there are no consequences if you break them. They need to be enforced. How you enforce them matters. They should be enforced in accordance with equal protection and due process and the reasonable suspicion standards of Terry v. Ohio. And yes, people have the right to protest. They don't have the right to protest violently. This is all politics, Will.
Yes.
You know that.
Well, Senator, keep playing outside the pocket. It led Roger Staubach to the Hall of Fame. Thank you for being with us here today.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.